County Executive Anthony Pacenti in studio. A lot of talk about consolidation. You have questions. He's here, 736-0186. Give us a call, and we'll try to squeeze your questions in. I think we lost Tom, who was on the line during the break. These are not easy proposals when we talk about consolidation. However, it is something I think that's going to have to be. I mean, the writing's on the wall, isn't it? It is all of these old, the Northeast especially, because we're older than the rest of the country.
We are.
There's a lot of issues that are going to be coming up. Infrastructure. Mm-hmm. You know, we talk about the water lines. Mm-hmm. It's going to be an issue. The sewer lines.
We talk about it's one of those things you talk about that it's hard to because people don't see them. I remember years ago, an older politician that I was friends with told me a story and said that, you know, they talked about sewers and somebody said, forget the sewers. Nobody sees them. Don't worry about them.
Right.
Well, you can't do that.
Right.
Because
you eventually see
years go by and you see them.
Yeah.
And it becomes a health hazard. It becomes it's a health hazard
backing
regardless.
up into your house.
Well, I mean,
you see
or in the streets, or in the
right.
schools, or in the buildings, wherever.
And you know, I think the magnifying glass on this whole thing is Flint, Michigan.
Well, clearly, that has really brought a lot of awakened a lot of people in terms of what can happen if you ignore certain things.
I want to just get into. It's been 9 years, 10 years, your 10th address here, and Tom is back, and I know he doesn't have a lot of time. I'm going to let him ask his question. Okay. Tom, you are on with the County Executive Tony Pacenti. Go ahead.
Yes. Good morning. I look at it from a different perspective. I'm a real estate appraiser. I travel 9 counties. And consolidation, in my mind, has a lot of benefits, but there's a lot of things that have to be taken into consideration. Just in our county, the different townships, and just as one example of the different zoning laws that the townships have. Mm-hmm. There's townships in our county that have very strict zoning laws. There are townships that have very lax zoning laws. This all comes into play in where people want to live and the amount of taxes that are in that township. I'm not going to name names on the townships, but there are some that have very little zoning law. You can build something without even hardly getting a permit.
Yeah, you can always tell by the signs that are on their business, and sometimes they're homemade on a bed sheet.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, unless you have continuity of zoning,
right,
consolidation is only going to work just so far. You're still going to have the pockets of people that want to live here instead of there. Because of that, I mean, I don't want somebody where I live building a shack. You know, there has to be zoning laws in effect. Until that continuity takes place, you know, consolidation is great on a lot of things, but there's a lot of things you're not going to be able to do.
Well, Tom, wouldn't you think, though, that, and I'm going to propose this, I'm really asking the county executive, and then I'll let you hang up and listen, but wouldn't you think the consolidation would be a part of it? The zoning, there'd have to be changes.
Well,
right?
The other thing is here, though, that...
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you. That towns are constitutional by law, so there's nothing in my proposal or my suggestion to eliminate towns or town government, so I want to clear that. I was talking about the levels of villages. So yes, towns. He's absolutely right, because that would really become that's really going to a complete metro form of government. But there are ways that we can do zoning.
But don't towns have the ordinances, these zoning?
They do.
But then villages can have them as well.
But then you might come in conflict with the towns at times. But at the same token, it's the villages still sit within the towns.
Yeah.
So
right.
That's the layer I talk about, and whether or not we can continue to sustain the passing of sales tax revenue for that purpose.
So you've taken you have really redefined the role of county executive.
Well, I tried to, as I said yesterday too. I tried to make when I took office, I felt that the county back 9 years ago that the county had lost its relevance as a leader in terms of the county itself.
Yeah.
And I really wanted and looked around and really had seen through my work in the state what other counties were doing and what was happening in other areas, and really wanted to bring it to another level, and really wanted to restructure, and we've done that. We still have more to do, and really become, as I said, and that's why it's hard for us. We can't become the leader or be the leader in economic development, in public health, in public safety, in those areas if we don't raise our relevance and take a stand. And so I didn't want to just take office and just be an administrator.
Before Jeff has his question, because he's chomping at the bit over there. I had somebody, when you were coming on, I had somebody reach out and say, "Oh, Anthony Cuomo's coming on." But I want to bring this up because, listen, you endorsed Andrew Cuomo. I just want to phrase this in a way that you can explain that, and because for some people they just can't handle that. But I spoke with someone recently who said, "I'm very against what he did, but I can't believe he had the guts to do it." And so talk about that. I mean, many people criticized you over it, but that you had to know that was going to be a tough move. That was going to get you at the end.
And I've done that before. And I've done that before. And the other thing is I was county executive long before Andrew Cuomo was governor.
Right.
He was attorney general at that time, but I was county executive. I took a stand on controversial issues from the day I took office.
Yeah.
And you could go back at my addresses, you can go back at my budgets, you can look at the things I've done. I haven't changed my stripes, so to speak, in any way in terms of the way I've run this government and the way I've tried to lead and the way I've tried to look at different areas. I proposed things that, as I said when we were on break, everything we proposed we attempted.
Right.
A few we failed at, but most, pretty much we've got a great track record of being successful. And I have thrown out controversial issues. A few years ago, we talked about, I threw out the Herkimer MVCC consolidation, which I still believe at some
keep this
some
stuff
point
going because it keeps giving us material.
Well, I know it does. It's not the only reason I do.
Yeah, I understand that. I do.
But it is about if we need to be different, and I think we've shown that though too, and we have made strides, and we'll keep doing it.
So you did know you were going to take some heat on the Cuomo thing?
The Cuomo thing itself, from.
But you made a decision. Correct me if I'm wrong. That you felt was better for the area, and I think people should. And this is just my take on it. That was better for the area, but not necessarily better for you.
Well, everybody looks at it differently. And some, I sold my soul. I gave up my party. I've done, I've been disloyal. I've done different things. I looked at it as this, twofold. I stood with him on various issues and that I was supportive of, and that he was, and that we worked together on, and I fixed that. So in my conscience, they keep saying I could not turn around and then say, yeah, this guy's doing a terrible job when I had accomplished some things that were very important to my community. The Oneida Indian Nation deal, the pension reform, the juvenile justice. We were working on Quad C and AMS for long before. I couldn't just turn around and in good conscience and say, yeah, well, he's I got to go with this other guy. In addition to the things that happened over there. So, yeah, I knew it was going to be controversial, but at the same time, I believed it was the right thing in my mind for me and for my community.
County Executive Tony Piccetti, thank you for the time.
Great to be here.
Manaski wanted to tell me to break is what he wanted to.